The Long Haul Podcast, America's Irish Voice. Interviews with inspiring immigrants, renowned Irish personalities, and discussions on all things Irish America. Presented by Michael Dorgan. On this week's show, we are releasing 3 interviews I conducted during my recent trip to Dubai, a major city in the United Arab Emirates. Around 60 members from my hometown club Nemo Rangers in Cork travelled to Dubai for a 5-day tour where we visited some famous landmarks, visited the Irish ambassador's residence and played against local football side Dubai Celts. I thought it would be interesting to get a perspective on how the GAA is run in Dubai compared to New York. So I interviewed Stephen Twomey, who is the former chairman of the Middle East County Board and a former Nemo Rangers senior footballer, along with Ross Oates, who is the manager of the Dubai Celts senior football team, and Alan Morgan, who is also a former Nemo Rangers senior footballer and a bar manager at the Three Monkeys Bar on West 54th Street in Uptown Manhattan. The Middle East GAA held their annual championships last week and GAA President Larry McCarthy was in attendance, so the interview took place as the Dubai Celts were preparing for those games. First up is Stephen Twomey, the former chairman of the Middle East County Board and a former Nemo Rangers senior footballer. Stephen, tell me about your background first of all. What do you do out here in the Middle East?
Thanks, Michael. Good to welcome Nemo here this week. We've identified a pretty comprehensive agenda for the last few days, finishing up on Tuesday. I've been here for 9 years. I originally came out here in 2014 and did 6 good years there working in IT with Oracle. And as of 2019, then I jumped ship and went over to Enterprise Ireland. GAA is a huge part of the Irish community here. There's about 2,500, maybe 3 playing the games. We've got 16 clubs in the region, 10 of which are based in UAE. And then you have 1 in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and 2 in Saudi. So the game is obviously going from strength to strength. I was involved in, obviously, my own club out here in the UAE would be Dubai Celts. And obviously coming out as a young expat, didn't really know many people coming to the region outside of Kieran Stone and Mick Carney, 2 Nemo lads. Then Heafy landed in Abu Dhabi probably 12 months after that. So they kind of gave me an introduction into the whole local ecosystem, and it kind of fast tracked my knowledge of the region. Playing games in regularly and training twice a week with the lads in the GAA club, you're just growing out your network of friends and contacts, which is ideal. 2015, then I came and got on board the county board. With the Middle East. With the Dubai Celts GAA. Went in as vice chairman for 3 years, I think it was, and following that, then one of the lads asked me to get involved with the Middle East County Board, so I did that as treasurer for 2 years, and then in 2019, I think it was, just before COVID, I came in as chairman of the Middle East GAA and had two good, enjoyable years there. So I suppose people kind of get involved really to make it better, you know. Not commercialise it as such, but certainly put your own stake in it and bring up the standard across all clubs. And I suppose, if I'm speaking freely, I think certainly the clubs in the Middle East really show the hard work that they do, be it on tournament day. Ross there mentioned that the Dubai tournament is taking place in 3 weeks' time here in the Seven Stadium. You've 91 teams coming in for that, and that's a logistical nightmare. And when you look at it, you're managing probably fixtures left, right and centre, which could be about 450. There's probably 4 or 5 pitches on the go. Referees have come in and officiate the games there.
Did they come in from Ireland?
A lot of them wouldn't have passed. They would have brought a lot of the Irish referees over. We had good links with Shandon, be it Brian Canary, be it Colm Lyons, be it Cormac Deneen and co. Would have all. Dermot Corwin, another one, would have come out with us and given his hand. And it's not a free holiday as such. You're here to graft, and the lads do it, and that's why they kind of keep coming back over the last few years. We've had a great relationship with them. I could give them a call on a Tuesday and say, lads, I need you for a Thursday. They jump on the plane in Cork or Dublin and be here at midnight. We get them collected into the hotel, and they'd officiate for probably 9 hours. Be it the games, be it on a Thursday night for the hurling or the Friday for the full day of football in the previous cycle, given the working week hadn't changed back then. And they'd do it, and they'd get on with it. They'd probably do 8 o'clock in the morning, first fixture, until about 6:15 that evening. And we'd have a blowout then in one of the Irish establishments, be it Irish Village, be it Vickers, or be it McGettigan's, and it'd be one big come on you gathering, and that's the reward for it. But you have that relationship, then they keep coming out and they do a good job of it, so it's ideal.
Tell me, how many people are involved in GAA? Like, it's not just players. There's obviously people involved in the background of the club. Do you know how many people are involved in the GAA in Dubai and then further afield in the Middle East?
Yeah, we did a kind of a census there last year on the Middle East GAA, and the figure was 1677 was the official number that we had. Okay. And we kind of captured where people were from, be it country, be it county. What was the gender breakdown? Yeah. So it was kind of nearly 2 to 1, female to male. Highest representation was Cork at 92, I think. Highest occupation was obviously teaching. It's a big teacher footprint out here. Second would have been maybe medics. Thirdly, professional services, financial services, engineering, construction. Yeah. And that was kind of the breakdown of it. Great insights to see what it was, to see what we really have underneath the hood. And there's a whole host of people. Just because you're not playing the game on match day or tournament day, a lot of work goes in behind the scenes to maybe the administrators, and there's obviously 16 clubs out here, and they would obviously have their own independent chairs, executive committees and subcommittees off that, and they're all doing great work to make it better. At the end of the day, that's all you want.
You've obviously seen a massive increase over the last couple of years with Dubai itself expanding and more people coming out here. What kind of a shift change have you seen in the last 10 years since you came out here?
Certainly since COVID we did see a spike in numbers the year after COVID, particularly of young teachers coming out here. That could just be standard living, could be the climate, could be the good work-life balance. I think numbers are up again this year. I think if you even look at our own club at Dubai Celts, membership numbers have increased again. It's a positive for the GAA. The membership base is growing, but who knows where it will stop.
Yeah. In terms of the underage, Stephen, is there many kids playing underage out here?
There is a big underage structure out here. There's a tournament actually today taking place. The first one hosted this year by the Middle East County Board, taking place up in Sharjah. I say they probably have maybe 250, maybe a little bit under, a little bit more. Oh, really? Young people playing GAA that day. So it's good to see. There's a lot of underage clubs out here. It's good to see. There's probably in the UAE, I'd say there's probably three clubs, underage clubs. There's certainly one in Oman. There's one in Saudi, Qatar. So it's good to see that the underage structure is growing abroad, and certainly it certainly lays down foundations for a more futuristic program if you want to put something in place. But that question has to be tabled to Garrow Cronin on the top table.
How important is having GAA outside of Ireland? How important is it, do you think, in the overall sense of the GAA family?
I think it's incredibly important. Why? You could land into DXB on a Tuesday or Thursday night. You could be training at the weekend. Straight away you're finding a bed, you're finding friends, and you'll probably get a job out of it in some capacity. There are three vital elements that you need to survive out here, and I certainly think the GAA plays well to that tune, and long may it continue.
You had teams in the past going back to play the World Games, didn't you? Are you sending a team back in the summer?
Yeah, 4 teams will go back, I believe. Preparations are underway. It's taking place up in Derry this year. Always a good event. Middle East footballers would have won the men's division as well as the hurlers. So they are very strong going back. I would be confident that they would be certainly in a Final Four place. Yeah.
And what's the breakdown of hurling to football here?
Hurling certainly grown over the last my 9 years here. I remember, and certainly in Dubai Celts it kicked off with Mick Redmond. I think they had maybe 10 or 11 playing. They were training in a Shoif at school, just outside of Sports City, and over the years that snowballed. Hurling now is taking up probably. They're definitely getting three sessions a week out of it, headed up by Wes Morrissey in Dubai Celts of St Patrick's Well in Limerick, and he's bringing his own flavours to it, and they won recently in the last tournament in Dubai.
Was the appointment of Larry McCarthy as president of GAA, being from New York, did that give you any lift, or did it benefit the wider GAA, the GAA here when Larry became president, or did it really matter?
Yeah, it did. You know, it's good to see that there was an international recognition there for I suppose a non-island GAA person to get to that level within GAA. Encouraging for sure. Was it a direct benefit to us? Absolutely. I think he's due to be here in next March, for the final games in Abu Dhabi at the championship. So we'll see him then.
In terms of, let's just focus on Nemo, and they can wait there. In terms of Nemo, Stephen, Nemo went to America in the 1980s, and it's talked about for years in the club. A great trip. I know this is the first tour since then. How did this come about that Nemo were going to come back and do a tour of Dubai? And how important is it for Nemo, the Nemo Rangers club?
I think it's important. I think there was something that hadn't happened since '83 when they went to New York. My own father was on that trip. I saw the jersey at home. Michael Buckley was over here and back to Dubai probably over the last 12 months, maybe 18 months. I would have met him. We would have had a conversation, kind of, is it possible, is it doable? It came to a head-to-head. Was it going to go to New York? Was it going to go to Dubai? There was obviously mixed feelings as to what destination they should go to, and be it here with different companies that we work with and different groups that we engage with, we were able to get a very competitive price to bring 64 people over.
Yeah, tell me, well, you got some great deals for the hotel and flights, but that's through you working out here and some of the companies.
Absolutely, we got a great deal there with the Bonington group, McGettigan's group. One of the lads is involved in the boat hire here, so we were able to get the boat cruise for this afternoon covered at a relatively low cost, including food and drink. Tomorrow we'll go back to McGettigan's, have a debrief, I suppose, later on that evening, and Monday we'll go to the embassy en route to the Grand Mosque and Emirates Palace. Yeah. So there's a nice mix, and it's very cost effective, and certainly maybe it's the start of sports tourism.
Yeah. Now, you're a proud Nemo man. You were captain of Nemo when you captained Nemo to an under 21 county. Must fill you with a great sense of pride to see a big group of Nemo Rangers members coming out here to your home territory, you could say, or your adopted home territory.
Yeah, it was, and you want to show what this place is like. There's obviously mixed feelings about it. You know, can you do this? Can you do that? You can do everything you want to do. And certainly I think the perception of the place has changed over the last 48 hours that you've been here, but certainly by the time you're finished on Monday there'll be a very different opinion of the place. It's vibrant, it's easy going, it's easy to get around, connectivity is good, and there's a good nightlife here, and I think that must be reflected. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add from a Nemo perspective or from an overall GAA sense?
No, I did see the book. My parents landing in Thursday morning.
They were delayed because Stephen's wife is expecting any day now.
Yes, my wife Fiona, no doubt if she's looking at this in years to come, she'll be saying, why weren't you at home on the Saturday? Why did you get out of bed at 10 o'clock to go to a
to be interviewed by Michael Dorgan?
Interviewed by Michael Dorgan. Give me a break. And I see Alan Morgan here scratching his head going, get me out of here.
But it was a good bit of sorry, go on. You were going to
no, just that. Like parents landing in Thursday. We have a newborn pending immediately. It's just a matter of days. Due date was the 2nd, so obviously we were planning that, and we're like, okay, how are we going to work this out? But to be fair, everything's going well, and I get out maybe tonight for an hour or two, and I'll be home early. But my father was here in November. He brought over the Nemo book, the new centenary year book. Incredible feat, volume 2, and it's as you grow older with the club, you certainly see and reminisce on stories going back as far as 1990, since we all kind of joined the club and got involved in the underage perspective at 4-5, to see where it is now, and you see certainly different fellas who you would have played with ourselves back home on various teams, having their own young generation now coming in. I think it was I met Bria Morgan for a pint there over Christmas, and his own young fella Callum is now in Creatree, who's hanging around with Dickie Creedon's young fella, who's also hanging around with Melissa McCarthy's young fella. So yeah. Certainly that trend is there, and it's going to stay on for many years, so long may it continue.
What was your earliest Nemo memory?
Ooh, that was a good one. I suppose going to street leagues, you'd always hear Dick Sisk roaring and shouting at you.
Yeah.
From of encouragement, that is, and that was brilliant. That was really good to see, and I think that kind of galvanised the younger fellas who were happy to stay on and get involved. And I think we were quite lucky from our own perspective. We were part of very good panels. There was 4 under-21s there we were part of. There was 4 senior footballs and intermediate that we were involved in. There was Munster club journeys, Munster club leagues, and a random night going to Cashel to play some crowd, or down to Waterford to play other clubs and games. So they were enjoyable nights out. Always good banter ringing Red FM on the way home on the buses.
Stephen is notorious for the prank phone call, and we were street leagues the whole way up. We were the same age, the same team on the whole way up. That was your earliest memory, best memory in a Nemo jersey?
There's been a lot of them. Certainly, I think I'd have to have it up there as winning the 21 county with ourselves, particularly that group of players. There was only yourself, myself, Conor Allen, Michael Dorgan, Brian McNally, and Nick were the I suppose the elder lemons of that cohort. Weren't given much of a chance because you would have had strong clubs like Bishstone were coming through strong, Douglas were coming through strong, the Piercing were strong, and there was Hosser, there was Eddie Corwin, there was Dinny involved. We caught Douglas, we caught Bishstone in a great final, went on into the county semi-final, we clipped Ballincollig, and then we had a thriller against Valley Rovers on the Jazz weekend back in 2005, I think it was. Having just come off the back of a 3 in a row under 21, it was great to do with your own crowd, your own lads, and I think that was kind of really when we saw Paul Kerrigan kicking on. Paul really dominated midfield back then. I think he was a tender age. Was he even minor? Was he first year minor?
I think he's at least 2 years younger than us, maybe 3.
Maybe 3. So he was even probably second year minor, but dominated at such a young age, and obviously he had a prolific career.
And we were used to be beaten every year growing up, Steve. Every year we won nothing growing up until we kind of hit that under 21 bracket.
Yeah, it all kicked on from there, and there's been many articles written about it. I remember Joe Cavan had an article previously about the Nemo's secret sauce, or how did they manage underage. Just let them at it, and I think that was a good philosophy. It certainly it certainly has proved to be credible, and let them at it, and if they want to play and enjoy it and take it serious, the structures are there for them to get into adult football.
Yeah, and just wasn't so serious out here a second ago where we'd the game, Steve. The Dubai Celts is a bit of a it was a good tryout. What did you think? What did you think about the game? How it went?
For what it was, let me put in record that I wasn't at fault for the bus being late. I think it was more so Jerry Kearns and Michael Buckley. Both phones seemed to have died come 9:30, and I was getting the phone calls at home saying, "Where's the bus?" I had nothing to do with the bus, by the way. You were an hour and a half late for the bus, but nothing to do with me.
But what about the pitch? Weren't you responsible for the pitch being organised?
I'm not too sure about that one. I think it was at a scan that morning. The pitch was in Sport City. It was supposed to be played on a Sunday, but through whatever issues were issues, we couldn't get it. So Jerry stepped in and locked down this place for the Saturday with the lads. And of course, much kudos to the lads in the Celts. You know, it's their weekend too. They trained this morning at 7 or 8 o'clock. Yeah. They already had their session done. They had other commitments at 12 o'clock to do their own activities, and a good few of them stayed around, and that shows the camaraderie there, shows the respect, and it's really the beauty of the GAA, really. Yeah.
How did you feel finally? How did you feel when you saw the Nemo kit out there in a Dubai field against your own club? How did you feel?
The kit is unique, to be fair. So there's no sponsor on it. So at the front is Nemo Rangers in Arabic. Yeah. So you have the Dubai skyline at the front and the silhouette, and on the back then you have the Turner's Cross.
Back there.
You have the Turner's Cross church in it.
There in the back.
So it's unique. Rahan and Nemo's at the back, along with the Arabic number for 9, because my Arabic is so good.
Yeah.
Translating numbers at the moment, but okay. It's a token piece. It's as I said earlier, going back to the 1983 trip, there was an O'Neill's jersey commissioned for it, and this is no different. And I'd imagine once we go back, there's a flag here commemorating the tour. That'll be on display later on this afternoon as we head in the boat cruise, and the jersey will be framed and put up in the club in Nemo. Maybe some of the 64 people there that will sign it. Okay.